Hey everyone, Laurel here, Minnesota Zone 5A. Just going to do a quick evening garden stroll tour for kind of middle, late June. We just are coming off of a weekend of unreasonable heat. It was hot, humid, hotter than it was, and more humid than it was in Texas this weekend up here in Minnesota. So not much got done, but plants kept going. So we're going to take a look at whatever is updated here. I'm seeing the hydrangeas putting on, I have all panicle hydrangeas, and they're putting on more sprouts. I have seen some buds on the ones up front, so that is exciting. They usually mid-July start blooming for me. Looking good over here. I went over the annuals that I planted in the ground that get very large. I did leave room for more because we always find sale plants. I kind of think maybe my juniper here, I was inspecting it because it had a lot of like yellowed leaves at the base. And I think it might be magnesium deficiency. So I am going to treat it with a little bit of Epsom salt. I know junipers love dry conditions, rocky, dry soils. And I do have clay soil, not heavy clay, but it holds on to a lot of moisture, and we have had a lot of rain this year. So I don't think it's a fungus, hopefully not, but that's what I'm thinking. So I'm going to start with Epsom salt, see if I can treat it for magnesium deficiency, if that will help. Otherwise, the berries on this still look really cool. I just love juniper berries, and these are like kind of a minty green almost. While I'm back here, we'll look at our giant hosta from this view. This is also a salvia that I started from seed a number of years ago, and it has seeded itself here. So I'm just letting it be. You can kind of get a look at the sedum from this angle as well, with the yarrow in the background. Noblesse yarrow. Coneflowers are about to open. Daylilies are putting out buds. So lots of color coming along soon. The Weigela is nearing the end of its blooms, and this group of allium has also come to an end of its bloom cycle. So I'll be cutting those back soon. But the phlox is looking beautiful. This is opening act. I think it's called Ultra Pink, something like that. This one and this one over here are the same, sort of flanking this pathway. So the opening act phlox, this one is a year younger than the one on this side. I am noticing, and I'm hoping it's not fusarium wilt, which I know I have in my soil, but a lot of the stem, it's like the center of the plant is healthy. This outside of the plant, you notice it's very yellowed. It looks chlorotic, and these blooms are like wilty, and the stems are dying back. That kind of looks a little bit like what fusarium wilt does to plants, which is a fungal infection. So I think I will cut back the affected areas. Uh-oh. I hope it's not aster yellows. Now I'm looking at this thing. It looks kind of deformed, so that could also be aster yellows. I sure hope not. That would be a bummer. So I think I will cut back the affected areas and see what happens to the rest of the plant. If it is aster yellows, it cannot be saved. I'll have to dig out the whole plant and chuck it, because that is a viral infection, or maybe it's bacteria, I don't remember. It's spread by insects. They bite the tissue like insects that eat plants. They bite the tissue of an affected plant and then hop to the next plant and bite that, and they spread it that way through their mouth. So, very appetizing. But once a plant is infected, there is no cure for it, and if you leave it there, it could potentially be spread by insects to other plants in your garden, and there are a ton of plants that are affected by that disease. So once the plant is dead, it's not like spores. There's nothing, it can only be affected from the living tissue of another plant. So I just dig it out. You can even compost it, because once the plant is dead, the disease can't be spread anymore. You don't have to worry about like dead leaves on the ground or anything like that. It can't be spread via that method. So the cat's pajamas nepeta is pretty faded, so I will come in here and cut back these blooms sometime soon, the next week or two, and it will reflush again. Not as full as the original bloom, but it'll still look nice. These are three dwarf solidago, or dwarf goldenrod. They bloom in August. And then I see 2 echinacea. These are the Sunseekers salmon variety. This one's looking much better. That one's a little bit slow to come back. That bloom looks a little short, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I have had echinacea affected by aster yellows before. They are very commonly affected by that disease. This zinnia looks kind of stressed. I've been keeping it watered, but I think the heat really got to it before its roots were established. Just a few blooms here on the blue star Amsonia. But the blue blooms on this Veronica, even though the foliage looks terrible with the very prone to mildew issues. But the blooms are very pretty, so I appreciate that. And the peach drift rose still in full bloom. I love those big bloom clusters. This one, in our cold winter, all of the old stems died all the way back completely and it sprouted from the ground, so it's a little bit shorter. Last year was the first year it was tall enough that I could get a good sniff of the roses without, oh, there's a mosquito trying to bite me. Okay, forgive me if I jerk a little bit. I'm trying to kill a mosquito. Anyway, because it died back to the ground, now it's short again, so I have to get on my knees to get a good sniff. But I'm glad it looks beautiful and it didn't die all the way. It's still around. So this is the Noblesse yarrow, even taller and more glorious this year than ever before. This thing just keeps getting bigger, but I will have to reduce it, probably cut it in half next year. And then I've got a number of coneflowers. I have 2 of them that are original to this area. They're just starting to put on their flowers. And I see one has seeded itself and is kind of growing in this, my little lime hydrangea. There you can, sorry, it's kind of shaky. I don't know if you can see that bloom head about to open. That's as far as I can zoom in. But that one is tall. Like, that's got to be up to my rib cage height. Little lime hydrangea doing good. It is the Barbara Harrington Clematis back there started opening. Beautiful fuchsia blooms. I do need to get a bigger trellis. I've been saying that for a couple years. They're expensive, so I'm waiting to get a deal on one if I can, or just get one before they sell out at the end of the season. We've got the 2 Shenandoah switchgrass there, a number of clematis that have self-seeded popping up. The drumstick allium here, you can see their little drumstick heads are about to open up. And my hardy hibiscus, the Holy Grail hibiscus, is just growing. It seems like it grows like 6 inches a day. It has nice dark foliage and like deep fuchsia red blooms. And then the Coreopsis is about to open its yellow blooms. And you can see all the daylily blooms coming up, ready to start looking spectacular. And you can see the daylily foliage starting to yellow and brown at the base, which is why I hate daylily foliage. We've got in Anna's Magic Ball Arborvitae down here, 3 Dark Towers sedum. This is an ultra, what was it called now? It's a phlox, not ultra, for crying out loud. It's like it's a Proven Winners one. It's got like bubblegum pink, fluffy blooms, or baby pink almost. Very, very pretty. The Daisy May Shasta Daisy has started to open. These are such cheerful blooms. This one I don't have a lot of luck with reblooming. It'll be just covered in these beautiful white blooms for a few weeks. And once those fade, I kind of do a Chelsea chop and cut it back, and then it flushes. I might get a few blooms, but not many. I have some annuals planted, some zinnias. This is the Zahara Double Raspberry Ripple. And I think that one is something Starlight. Now I'm forgetting. I am not good at remembering this stuff. We've got an aster here, another daylily here. This one a little bit behind the other 3. Otherwise, everything looks kind of the same. I still have not cut back the zinnias here that I planted just to let them grow. I think I do need to treat this area a little bit with iron. This is not great soil back here. So I'm just doing annuals. I went over my container garden tour recently. I just filmed that, so that should be uploaded by now. I went every planter that I have planted. Carrots are looking good. I had an older seed packet on this side that I used up. And then this was a brand new seed packet I bought this year, so you can see the different germination rates. I think I planted fewer of the new seeds than I did of the old ones, but I just wanted to use it up. So maybe if the old ones don't come up here, and I even have some along the edge that I just sewed. Sew? So, what's the past tense of sow for seeds? If they don't come up, I'll probably sprinkle some of the new ones over on that side too, just to fill it in. Otherwise, the veggies are looking good. Strawberry is still producing like crazy. These cabbage, they're called Piccadilly, and they were new to me. They're getting humongous. They grow so fast if they're happy. And they have like pointy heads. You can see, gosh, they'll be ready pretty soon actually, but it's like those pointed cabbage heads, both of these. So that's exciting. I love the look of cabbage. It's so like cottagey. Makes me feel like I live in like Hobbiton or something. Yes, I'm a nerd. I love Lord of the Rings trilogy. That's my favorite movie. All three of them. I can't pick a favorite, but it is a masterpiece. All three of those films. We've got scapes coming on the garlic. So we cut those off so they don't bloom. And then it'll be another maybe 3 weeks and the garlic will be ready. But I cook with those. I actually ran out of garlic when I was cooking yesterday, so I came out here and I just cut back maybe 5 or 6 scapes and I dice those up and throw them in whatever I'm cooking. And it's milder than like a garlic bulb, but it's garlic flavor. So if you want it strong, just add extra scapes. The bell peppers are looking great. Everything's looking good back here. Shallots are really starting to thicken up here. They haven't started forming big bulbs yet, but those are usually done a couple weeks after the garlic is. I still need to thin out the zucchini. But that'll come along. Same thing with my onions in the ground. They're looking good. Yeah, everything's looking good. I should harvest some of this lettuce tonight. This butter crunch. I've never successfully grown a butter crunch, so it has a nice head of lettuce like this. I'm so excited. And then I do have some extra seeds sown that I just see are coming up and germinating for a second batch of lettuce. I did cut, yeah, there's scapes on this garlic too. I did cut some of those, but I just planted up these pots, which you'll see in my container garden tour if you watch that. The Walker's Low Nepeta still blooming, but the Back to the Fuchsia Salvia is done now. So I'll cut that back. I'll give that a Chelsea chop, basically, like cut it back hard, basically to the base of the plant. And then that won't flush out more blooms, but it will just flush out like clean foliage. So I've tried selectively pruning. I've tried different methods with these to see if I can get a rebloom. And they just don't really, little spindly blooms, but then the leaves turn yellow and they don't look great. So I just cut them back all the way. Again, the sage leaf willow is looking beautiful this year. It loves all the rain. The iris back here are done. Boy, I can't even walk back here this year. Everything's so full. So that's exciting. Yarrow starting to open with kind of raspberry pink blooms. So the next couple weeks we'll see a lot more color off of this yarrow. And then the beautiful purple clematis is kind of going over. It still has some color back there behind the iris, but those blooms are starting to fade. I can't wait till that one's big enough that it can really climb up the fence and I can see it. I'm hoping it will kind of ramble along the fence and I'll be able to see it like above the iris eventually. Limelight hydrangea is looking really full and healthy this year, as is the Sun King Aurelia. This one's a few years old now, so this gets really large. This will like touch the bench. I actually had to move this bench last summer because it was being engulfed by this plant. Again, the heuchera, berry smoothie, I still need to weed. Here and there I do some weeding when I have time, but again, this weekend was just kind of a wash because, man, it was like dangerous to be out here. I just watered in the morning and the evening, and that was it. I actually had my college reunion on Saturday too, so most of the afternoon I was outside. It was quite the experience. Crested surf fern, I go over these every time, but they're just so pretty, so frilly looking down here. They're kind of, I love ferns because they are kind of like Jurassic almost. Like they've been around since the dinosaurs. Ferns, sharks, and roaches. We have a lady in red fern over here as well. This hosta is called, is it designer jeans? Or is it dancing shoes? Shoot, now I can't remember. I've had it for a number of years, moved it several times. It always gets these white leaves that look like they've been burned, but I think that's just the coloring of the hosta because it is in a lot of shade, and I've moved it into more shade every year, and it still gets that burned look. So I think that's just how the leaves look. We've got 2 white astilbe here behind this fern that are about to bloom. I will be moving things around over here. I cut back the viburnum, and it is kind of recovering a little bit. This had a hard winter. So I'm not sure if I will get rid of this, or I might just plant it close to its its pair. I have another one of these that are pollinators for each other. And I know now they sell them with one of each plant in the same pot. So I know they can grow together almost like one plant. So that's might be just what I do. See if they survive another year. And then I have more astilbe back there. This is the glorious autumn frost hosta. I have a number of these. They are my absolute favorite one. As I have said many times, this raspberry splash lungwort is doing the curly leaf thing again, like it did last year and like the other raspberry splash. This one's not as bad though, but I did cut back the blooms, and this one actually bloomed. We've got the one Brunnera over here that survived, and a little lime hydrangea. The clematis that was back here is pretty much done blooming, but a astilbe bloom is about to come. So in a future video, these will look very nice. I've got my pathway, aka the mulch showroom. All my various kinds of broken bag mulch, so I can mulch this on a budget. Oh, I thought this had already bloomed, but I guess not. They're just budding. Now some blooms are opening. This is the other viburnum, also not looking great. That's the pollinator pair. Super impressed with North Pole Arborvitae. I understand why people like them. Yes, I left multiple liters on this one. I don't care. I love this plant. I bought another one. I liked it so much. And then this is a strawberry daiquiri dogwood. Hopefully the light's not too bad over here with the sun shining. The sun's kind of at the different side of the garden. Normally I do morning tours, but this is an evening tour. Yeah, strawberry daiquiri dogwood. Beautiful variegation. Strawberry red stems in the wintertime. And then 2 firelight hydrangeas. I did cut back. There was one branch. You can see kind of a bare spot here where one whole branch of the plant died back in our harsh winter. But if I go to this side, you can see there are already some branches sprouting out here that will eventually fill in this space over time. So I am just probably going to plant some shade annuals down in here just as ground cover and to fill in that spot just for this year. I won't do anything permanent. This Brunnera is Alexander's Great. I think I showed this last time. Love those white leaves. I have another one of those as well over here. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to zoom. Making you dizzy. So this dill, I keep forgetting about this. Dill just seeds itself everywhere, but I let it. It's not really invasive. It's easy to pull if you don't want it, and I love that foliage texture. Same thing with catnip. That can be invasive, so be careful with that. The Sensation Sky Blue Salvia still blooming away. Just those bright blue blooms. Nice small, and this is mature, like it stays compact and smaller size like this, which I love. I did plant, oh, I'm just noticing buds. Look at that. Firelight buds starting. Still early yet, but yay. I picked up a couple pinkablu lungwort that I found this year. So I planted one here kind of in between these heucherella that are slowly shrinking. And then there's another Brunnera, the Alexander's Great. Drops of Jupiter oregano always looks good. Very low maintenance plant. I stuck this concrete mushroom here. I'll have to adjust this edge a little bit so it can stand up straight. But I needed like either a hose guide or something to keep, because when I move, this is the hose that I move all over the backyard, back here and up by the patio. to water things. It reaches every garden in this backyard. But when I'm dragging it around, sometimes, you know, houses kind of flip and turn and spin and whatever. They have a mind of their own. And so that's what happened to this poor little plant here. I got knocked into it with the hose and broke a bunch of stems. So I'm using that as a hose guide. And I think it's, you know, a cute hose guide. But anyway, in the mulch, you can see signs of feral cat litter box activity when they stack up the mulch like that. So that means I'm going to have to get in there with gloves and clean out poop. This is the Agularia Sky Blue Ageratum. And this is what is it called? Per Nepida. This should be bigger. It was bigger last year, but I'm guessing this winter was harsh on it too. But just this little, it stays more compact though. And then we've got blooms starting on the echinacea back here. These are mostly now pink echinacea. They started as red, but have self-seeded everywhere. And now it's a patch of pink ones. And then you can see buds coming up on the Millennium Allium. I have 4 of them in here. I don't plant in 3s and 5s. I don't think it's necessary. Sometimes it is. Like, that's why I kind of create an orderly look while also having like just random single plants and a little bit wild area. Like I have a trio of 3 in a triangle. And I have that in various places, sort of punctuating the garden, like a trio of 3, maybe 5 of them together, or 4, sort of tidily. And then you can kind of do a little bit of chaos in between, but you have those orderly punctuations that keep things from looking too crazy, at least in my opinion. I mean, that's just my taste. Everybody has their own taste in the garden, their own what they like and don't like, and I think you should do exactly what you want to do. And that's what I do. Boom Chocolata Geranium, enormous. Look how full of blooms. And they're such a pretty color. They're like this sort of blue-purple periwinkle and just a little bit of pink right in the throat there. And these, I mean, you can see how full of buds each stem is. Like they're just bloom, and it bloomed for almost the entire summer last year. It was smaller, so I'm guessing I'll get even more blooms this year. Because it would just kept sending up new bloom stalks. I would trim off the old ones, once they look brown and dry. I never had to cut the whole thing back. It's great. I just hope it doesn't get any bigger than this because it's huge. It is mature though, so now. We've got snapdragons that open. This was a mix of all the colors. There was a sunrise mix that kind of had yellows, oranges, pinks. I had like butterfly bronze. It's just a whole bunch of different ones that I popped in this whole area. We've got a volunteer echinacea here in the middle. It's now getting big. And then just a hint of pink. This is I think it's the Bubblegum Blast. It wasn't labeled, but it looks like Bubblegum Blast Monarda, or Bee Balm, that I bought on clearance years ago at Gerton's. It was just originally a single like gallon-sized pot, and it has slowly but tidily spread itself out non-invasively, which I enjoy. I have Caradonna salvia behind that, which is now going out of bloom. This will sporadically rebloom for me, so I usually do just cut off the bloom stalks. It won't be as full, but it'll send up little like side shoots of purple blooms. And then these are the golden rocket maybe barberry, some golden barberry. They turn more green later in the summer. We've got some more volunteer echinacea, and then these are the Nicole Joylene daylilies. I have 3. Again, I don't particularly like the foliage, especially when it starts to turn brown. But these are kind of like a peachy pink. Oh, somebody's really revving their engine out there. Sort of a peachy pink bloom with a little bit of yellow in the throat and like the frilly edges where they kind of like, yeah, like roughly looking, and they smell really good. These stay lower and smaller. Chocolate chip ajuga is my ground cover in here, done blooming. This is a patch of white echinacea in front of the dogwood. Halcyon hosta, it is showing some burn this year. It didn't have this issue last year quite as much. So I'll just, you know, as the summer goes on, the sun gets lower and this gets more shade. And so I'll just clip off these burned leaves periodically, here and there, 1 or 2, and it'll keep putting out fresh leaves. Blue hostas have like, it's sort of a waxy coating on the leaves that makes them look blue. they're the least sun tolerant of all the hosta colors. Because if they're overexposed to sun, that sort of blue coating literally like burns off. And so you can see like the leaf with the sort of the green patches on it. That's like sunburn, where the blue waxy substance has burned off, basically. So you can always tell when a blue hosta gets too much sun. Behind that, I have a stained glass hosta back there. I still haven't trimmed that dogwood. I keep forgetting. It is covering up behind that sculpture, a little rocket ligularia. And then there is a June hosta and some daffodil foliage left. We've got 3 sweet tea heucherella, which are much smaller than they have been. They kind of suffered in our winter and died back, but I'm glad they're still there. Then we've got a Haconocloa macra grass here, fronted by 2 beautiful autumn frost hosta. These get pretty much full sun, and they do great. And the Twinny Peach Snapdragon started opening. This is the color, that sort of yellowy golden peach color that I remember. And I kind of forgot they were like open blooms, like open face for Snapdragon. So that's fun. I need to water these again. Anyway, yeah, so Twinny Peach. I think I found 2 extra that were in another seed tray that I started, so I'll probably put those out here. The white flowers you see are Diasia. Trinity Grace is the name. I hadn't grown that before last year, so I bought a bunch on clearance to test it out, and it did great. I loved it. Super drought tolerant. This is white, but I didn't realize it would get kind of that little bit of peachy pink blush on its petals too, so I love that. I'm excited to see this Stokes Aster open and bloom purple. I haven't grown one of those before because they are a Zone 5 plant, and we are newly Zone 5 rated. So, got more Diasia over here with some Persian Shield sprinkled in. We've got some foxglove that seeded themselves that will eventually come up and bloom. These white blooms are Biokovo geranium. Beautiful. My hellebore, the penny's pink. You can see they stay in, like their blooms hold for a long time over the summer. Eventually they'll turn brown and I'll cut them back. But then it'll have that beautiful variegated foliage. But I like, they were kind of a dusty mauve pink color when they first opened, and now they kind of turn green. So they just look cool, like pretty and decorative for a really long time. We've got Torchlight Coleus over here. That hosta is called Wee, like Wee from Proven Winners. It's the sound Wee, which, yeah, hopefully it's not like wee wee. Or yes in French, I suppose it could be, but no, it's like wee. And we've got 3 of the silver gumdrops, heuchera. That one and that one I overwintered in the garage. This one was planted last year, so now they're all planted. This is starting to open now, Giles van Hees Veronica. It is a dwarf Veronica blooming pink, obviously. This one had mildew issues. It does better now that I moved it out here where it gets a lot more airflow. And then the opening act, Ultra Pink again on this side. This one is not showing signs of aster yellows or other disease. So I suppose I could split that and plant it back where the other one was. I still haven't planted, this is next on my project, this candy corn spirea needs to be planted. I was just trying to figure out placement, but I've been busy with all my annuals and everything in my containers. We have another Torchlight Coleus. This is a Rudbeckia from a seed mix that I grew last year that's not hardy, but this one resprouted from the roots, so bonus Rudbeckia. I did restart seeds this year, so I have a bunch more so I can have another patch. I loved those last year. They were the caramel mix Rudbeckia. Trevi Fountain Lungwort starting to fill in. Love. Lungwort is probably my favorite shade plant. If you need something deer resistant, I don't deal with deer, but they have fuzzy textured leaves, so deer and rabbits don't prefer to eat them. I'm sure they would eat hostas first. But I love the polka dot foliage, and they're super drought tolerant once they're established. Behind that, we've got a fragrant bouquet hosta. We've got some daffodil foliage. Oh, I've got blooms coming up on the blue drinking gourd hosta here. with its cupped leaves. I do let my hostas bloom. I think they're beautiful blooms. I cut them back once they like start to brown. But I love seeing the hosta blooms. I think they're gorgeous, and most of them smell absolutely amazing. Like fragrant bouquet hosta, it's named that for a reason. It smells like jasmine. In the evening, I have one by the patio, and I'll be sitting there. I like to eat my dinner at the patio table and read, and the whole air just smells like jasmine from those blooms. They last a really long time. The bumblebees absolutely love them, so I don't cut them back. And I like that some are white, some are lavender. They're tall ones, they're different shapes and sizes. I love hosta blooms. Again, striptease hosta, the most scandalous plant in my garden. Another Sun King Aurelia. And then the I Am Groot arbovita. I don't know about this one. It's looked like it was recovering. Now it's looking a little rough again. I gotta keep my eye on this one. What is this? Does it have spider mites now? Or is that just... It's hard to tell sometimes because when the cottonwood seeds fly, they just collect on everything. Just that downy, cottony coating. And then, of course, you've got like a million little seedlings coming up. Like you can see down here in the mulch, hopefully. All these little white fuzzy, those are all cottonwood seeds. I know there are cottonwoods in many areas of the U.S., so many of you know the pain. These are 3 Calamagrostis overdam grasses. I may move these. I have an arbovita that I want, another North Pole arbovita that I think I want to plant back here somewhere, and I will probably move these grasses over. Let's see, Eupatorium bone set. That's what this one is called. White blooms about to open. Butterflies love those, like any Joe Pye weed. And bee balm about to open too. This is a native variety. Excuse me, the Pachysandra is looking nice this year. I have some weeds in there I need to clear out, but that was looking a little rough after winter too. And then we have Atlantis hosta putting up some blooms. Let's see, I went over my pots. This milkweed's looking much better, bigger. I think I cut this. These are these white blooms back there too. They're wild violets. They're native. They seed themselves everywhere. I like them, but they are kind of aggressive seeders. Seeders. That sounded weird for some reason. So this one I cut back, but I have a Godzilla fern that I've overwintered. I got on clearance in the fall, and I wasn't sure where I wanted to put it. There's no plane going overhead. But I think this is going to be the right spot. So I will probably dig out this violet and plant Godzilla over here. Beech tree. I think it's looking good. Rising Fire Beech, the first tree I've ever planted. Got some tip burn, but it's only on the lower leaves, and I think that's from when it was still in its container. So I am optimistic that my tree planting will be a success. I love this area. This is like nice and lush and full. We've got blooms now open on both of the newly planted Arizona apricot. Oh, and this is mosquito area over here. This hosta is really cool, the texture of that. That's called praying hands. I actually have 2 of them planted there. But the leaves stay like that. They're like upright and kind of curled and skinny. So I love that texture against like the larger leaves of the other hostas back here. I don't remember the names of all of these. I want to say that one is like weddings, royal wedding, something wedding. That one really got burned quite bad in the sun. And since we lost our shade from the spruce trees until this beech tree grows a little bit, it's just going to be kind of scorched. We've got a drift of Japanese painted ferns down here. And still blooming on this amazing cucarella. I think I've called it by several names in several videos. It's either Pink Fizz or Pink Revolution, I think was the other name. Or neither of those. I mean, I'm unreliable in terms of my memory of these things. So we'll see. This was a mystery hosta, but I'm pretty sure it's guacamole based on the size and the leaves. And I think my stepmom thought it was that too. It came out of a mixed planter that she had created and then passed on to me when they moved. This is a young, I just planted that last year, another autumn frost hosta. And you can see the first blush hosta, that was the one that had sort of reddish leaves, is now like early on, the leaves are kind of red on the edges, kind of pinkish with red stems. And then later on the summer, they kind of go back to just solid green, which is a hint of reddish pink. But the stems stay red. So that is a newer variety, but a novelty because there haven't been red hostas until now. And I keep forgetting about my stuff back here, but it's exciting. I have some lamium. This is a toad lily that I planted in the fall. I got on clearance and I thought it was dead. It was just too late to sprout. And then we've got some Canadian ginger here that my aunt gave me. I need to dig up the weeds from around there. Okay, there's a mosquito fixing to land on me again. So if you see me jerk, I'm just trying to kill it. And I've got Solomon seal everywhere. This I planted. It's a great one to get on clearance at garden centers. It's usually left until they go like 75% off because it doesn't like being in containers. It has a very robust, like tuberous root system. And even in gallon pots, like it really wants to bust out of that. So by the time the end of the season hits, what they have left, like the leaves, the leaves have died back. And it looks dead, but it's not. You can just plant the root, which, like I did with that one, and it came back up. Okay, I'm going to talk fast because these mosquitoes are all over me. That's what you get for in the evening. Dwarf goat's beard here, 2 of them. I thought they were the same variety, but the leaves look different. And I just learned that there are male and female plants. So I am not sure if I have 2 different dwarf goat's beard or just a male and female plant. But then there's an all gold Haconocloa behind those peeking out. There's a moonshine lungwort back there. And then I think this one was pink negligee snake root. Excited to see that bloom. Snake root, I think it'll be happy here because it gets morning sun and afternoon shade. So they get the best color with a little bit of sun. And then blue angel hosta back there. The leaves are just huge. I wish I could go back there and show you, but one leaf is probably bigger than my head. So very cool. And glorious Jackmanii clematis is now started its bloom. Absolutely gorgeous. And this one is covered. I think this one is 3 years old now, and I love the red berries in the background from the elderberry there in my neighbor's yard. This one has been in the ground for 3 years. The first few years you plant clematis, they're not going to do a whole lot because they're all about establishing their roots to begin with. It takes a few years for them to take off. And then once they get their roots healthy, then they really go for it. This one I'll have to train next year also to climb up that side of the pole because I didn't really pay attention to that. But I like how it's draping over this basket too. And this will be stunning color for several weeks. And then the basket will take over once these blooms are done. Yeah, Jackmanii. We've got the Rainbow's End hosta back there as well. I see Jackmanii has kind of rambled along the ground, which I am okay with. And oh my God, look at that. Oh, I bet that's from the, okay, so we have this white ball of like cotton that my mom put up for nesting material for birds. And it looks like they've been at it here. And that is what is on this Jacob's Ladder bloom, is some nesting material from that. So they've been picking at it and dropping it. Love the arching Solomon seal over here. And then the ground cover is a juga. We've got one of the, I think that's canary. It's one of the canary series. Feathered Friends, I think canary maybe. And then I have a bronze glow. Is that what it's called? Bronze glow ajuga mixed. And then I don't know what this is because I didn't plant a different kind, but there's like this more purpley stuff in here. So who knows? Nice thing about ground cover is it keeps, it's great for the soil. I don't have to mulch, but it is hard when what weeds do seed. They are very difficult to dig out of here, especially the taproot kind. So that is the downfall. I did dig up the raspberry splash lungwort that was in here. I'm hoping it's not a disease issue in the soil. I'm hoping it's just the plant because I planted another pinked out lungwort. I needed to get that in the ground because it was getting powdery mildew. It was really root bound in its can. This is a variegated Brunnera. And then the violas that I have let self-seed under here have started opening. So I'm just going to have cheerful viola blooms. I get in here and pick out, I see some of the Jacob's Ladder has self-seeded in here as well. Oh, I got a mosquito. Yeah, love this little patch of violas under the bench. Probably going to go through here quicker because of the skeeters. We've got hostas, Brunnera, etc. back here. I do see some new shoots coming up that look healthy on this red twig elderberry to replace the ones that died back. So I'm hoping I will have my overhead draping shade over my bench again. I am seeing blooms forming on the bobo hydrangeas. So that's promising. I popped a few pots. This is just seed geraniums over here. This is why I love avens or GM, because they just keep blooming. This variety won't rebloom if I keep deadheading. The red dragon did for me, which is why I wanted to get another one to plant. Replace the two that died. And then this is where I cut back a lot of the curly weird leaves on the raspberry splash lungwort. So we'll see how it does over here, if it does any better. If it keeps doing that and not blooming, I'll probably just get rid of it. But we've got the Kahari dianthus here in full bloom. I did come in here and pull out some of the grass that was infiltrating this area, along with more Solomon seal. This pink diamond dicentra just keeps blooming all summer. It's been in bloom since early spring. Got a ghost fern. I need to get back here and the job that I hate most, which is trying to control all this brush coming through the fence. Honeysuckle, Kinsley's ghost, looking marvelous. I am seeing the start of aphids, so I do need to spray this with neem oil and trim back these wild new growth branches. These look really cool in the vase though, in flower arrangements, and last a really long time. This area too, not a whole lot of updates since last time. We've got 3 of the rockin' plant back in black upright sedum, and lots of weeds over here. I have not at all touched this area. We do have some blooms starting on the American Gold Rush Rudbeckia. I am letting these are like self-seeded sunflowers, which is what most of the weeds in here are from the bird feeder sunflowers. I'm going to let these 2 bloom just for fun, and I'll pull the rest. I do have alyssum that I planted a seed started alyssum here years ago, and it just keeps eating itself gently, so that's all over. This, I will probably remove some of this creeping Jenny, although you can walk on it. It's fine to walk on. This is the opening act phlox. I think it's called Pink Romance, where it's pink, but it has that white center. I have had issues with fusarium wilt in here, killing off phlox. So we'll see how this one I was able to plant further out, and it has more airflow. Yeah, otherwise things are pretty much the same over here as last time. My last video, my little hosta area. We've got 2 Japanese painted ferns like hiding under the dogwood, which I will continue to cut back hard every year. This ligularia has really come into its own this year. It's got bigger leaves than I've ever seen, looking really nice. So I'm pleased with that. I hope I get some of those pretty yellow blooms. I know some people don't like ligularia blooms, but I love them. And then another autumn frost hosta, my favorite. Turtlehead over here will bloom late summer. And here you can see aphid activity here on this leaf. So it has just begun, but I would rather not let it get out of hand. Doesn't kill the plant, luckily. Oh God, another mosquito. Ugh. That's the bad thing about the rain. And we can walk up front really quickly. Not a whole lot of changes up there. The dahlias are all starting to bloom here though in my new dahlia patch. This will be a project for the rest of this year too. It's just shaping this area, cutting things out. I was going to plant dahlias down here too, but then I got this clearance arborvitae, and just seeing that green up against the shed here got my wheels turning, and I thought, maybe I want to do an evergreen here instead. So I decided not to fill this in just in case. I just need to leave access to the bird feeders. This is also a one sunflower that I have let grow, and we'll let it bloom and then I'll rip it out. But I'm excited for my dahlia patch. Also, the Stachy's Humelo is getting taller and throwing up more bloom. So I haven't grown that before. I am excited. All of my look at how few plants are left on my table. It's fabulous. I'm making headway just in time to pick up clearance plants and start planting all over again. But I just filmed a video of every single one of these annuals. So check my channel for that if you want to know what I planted over here in all my containers. And we'll just pop up front real quick. Smoke bush tree is still in full smoke mode, and these yews that I cut back are filling in with some fresh growth, so they will recover beautifully. But isn't that gorgeous? That smoke bush is just so pretty. It sucks cutting it back because it's like a million little twigs you have to crane your neck and cut, but it's worth it. Rock garden, the campanula this year is doing really well. This is Rapido Blue campanula. I did plant some snapdragons in here. It looks like one is not going to make it. This is sort of a dry area, hence why I did rock garden plants. Oh, there's a cat over there in the bushes. I did plant the last of my begonias here. We've got another Rapido Blue campanula, and then this is Rapido Blue and Rapido White. These were on clearance, so I think they got kind of mixed up, but I love that mix. I think they had two plants in the same pot, and so they couldn't sell it as either one, so I got it on clearance. And these will keep blooming. They kind of flush out and then lull. I'll come in and deadhead, but you can see like even new buds forming down there. So they do bloom all summer long pretty much. Sedum now is blooming. Got some traffic. And then this area really was full of this Angelina sedum, which got hit really hard in the winter, which is fine. It was taking over and I wanted to reduce it anyways. So I think I'll get more annuals to pop in here. I did plant some dianthus over on this side as well. So we'll see. Yeah, I love that. It's like Rapido Blue, but it's like lighter, more lavender with like a white center. I mean, I suppose it's Rapido. It wasn't labeled because of or maybe the label was wrong. But I showed these pots in my video. I finally bought mulch. I do chop and drop method. So I cut these boxwood and just dropped the cuttings there, and I will mulch over them. These are Solar Eclipse Heucherella. They start out chartreuse, and as the season goes on, they get more bronze in the center. So at the end of the season, there will be more bronze with like a chartreuse edge. Over here, I still have to, this is the last area to work on. Cut things back and plant. This grass is going to get rid of. You can see it just spreads so much, and I don't want anything in here. I don't have the space for things to just spread out. So I'll be getting rid of that. I love this dianthus, but now it's sort of a set. It comes as a set with the grass. So I'll be giving that away at work very soon. I do have blooms on my mum. I'm completely forgetting the name of it. This is a hardy mum. Blooms sort of a peachy pink color, light pink. We've got two, I think those are onyx heuchera back there. And then a brennera. Oh God, the mosquitoes are out today. Sorry, I just hit the mic. We've got a little lungwort that I bought on clearance last season. More Solomon seal, a ghost fern, and then buds on the little quickfire hydrangea. This is an astilbe. I have two more of them that I have moved out of this space because if we don't get a lot of rain, they just burn right there. But that one's looking good, so I left it. There's a bee balm. Let me get around the bird feeder here. This is the Pardon My Cerise bee balm, which I wanted to have in the front of the garden, but it gets mildew so bad that I had to hide it. This is I think it's Anna's White. I love the variegation on that hellebore foliage. And then the Spanish wedding hellebore still has chartreuse in the blooms. Just looks stunning. I bought another one of these and they'll get really big leaves. Love the shape of the leaves on the hellebores. And then I have this is an Island Breeze hosta. And then another blue angel with just massive leaves. And I can see blooms starting to come up there. And then this is the Mystery Salvia. Could be Rose Marvel. It was mislabeled at Gertens. So I picked it up. We don't know what it is. But it is blooming pink. This poor pink dot phlox opening act has powdery mildew. It's not looking good. I think I need to move it out a little ways from the U so it gets more sun and more airflow. God, there's a bug flying right around my face. But at that point, I'll cut it back all the way. Sorry for the bugs. One just literally flew in my mouth as I was talking. But you can see the mildew on the leaves right there. Opening act phlox is not particularly prone to that, but we've had a lot of rain and humidity, so it's kind of rife for mildew issues. We have a lemon jade sedum right here that was newly planted, and then this is a ground cover campanula. It wasn't labeled, so I don't know what it is. Still looking pretty. This phlox looks really great. This is the opening act pink dot. Looking good. The Caesar's Brother iris are done blooming. Normally I deadhead the seed heads, but they actually looked really cool last year. They kind of turned brown. Looked almost like cattails, so I might leave them and just see what happens. We've got some yellow echinacea starting to open. I newly planted those last year. And then I noticed I had some annual Rudbeckia here too. And as I was weeding this area, I noticed that some of the weeds were Rudbeckia, so I let those sprout. Like this one here is about to bloom. Done blooming here for the String Theory Amsonia. These get the coolest looking like seed pods after they're done blooming. So I leave those be. And then I planted the Americana dark red geranium here in a drift. Pop of really bright color. We have caramel heuchera, which are both looking, I have two of them, which are looking stunning. This is one over here. I do not remember the name of that heuchera. That's what it looked like last year. That one looks beautiful this year. I had a second one that died back quite a ways, but it's sprouting. And then this is a henna coleus, so I thought I'd try that one up here. Those were on sale at Gerton, so I might pick up a couple more because I really like that color. Sedona Sunset Coleus is my favorite, and I cannot find it anywhere this year. So sad. And then we've got the beautiful blue foliage on the this shrub, Fothergilla, blue shadow Fothergilla. Blooms are done, but it keeps this like icy blue. And I think I can safely say it gets just enough shade to keep its blue leaves over here. We've got three. This is champagne heuchera. 1, 2, 3. This is another caramel heuchera. This one, is it Mardi Gras? I can never, no, Cajun Fire heuchera is that one. Also, that one did really well, and that one blooms like crazy. And then we have a Patriot hosta. Patriot or Minuteman, I cannot remember the difference between the two. And then this is Limoncello Barberry. It's sort of, its new growth has that pink tinged leaves that I've shown in previous videos. Then it kind of turns chartreuse, and then it turns more dark green as the season goes on. Absolutely beautiful fall color. Very bright color. And then a bunch of the marigolds that I dug out of my raised bed gardens that were self-seeded themselves all over back there. I planted up here. They've been looking rough, but they're bouncing back now. So those are very tall marigolds, so I hope they do well. I have self-seeded dill from years ago that keeps coming up here. And then these are 2 ornamental cabbage that I seed started. They were getting stressed, so I had to pop them in. And then same thing, 2 African daisies. This is the last area probably that I will work on. I have a flat of Victoria Blue Salvia that will go in here. I have some more ornamental cabbage that I'll dot throughout. But this whole area has a balsam. So it seeds itself everywhere. You'll have balsam for years. I see a few coming through that the rain is able to reach. As soon as I run this soaker hose, that balsam will start sprouting like crazy, and I'll have to keep it thinned out as well. But then this area I'll have Victoria Blue Salvia too. And I have a couple Leotris left back here, otherwise just foxglove that seed themselves. The clematis that is on the fence is done blooming. I have two other Calamagrostis overdam back here. Here's a Leotris. I don't remember if it's purple or white. I have both back here. And then this is a pink coneflower. So there's one bloom so far that has opened down there. And then a bunch more are coming, and more foxglove. So that is the garden, the evening garden. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. I know it's a lot to go over. Anyway, I'll probably do more tours like hostas only, etc. I suppose hostas because I have more of those than anything else, or maybe like shade plants. I don't know. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Have a great night. Please subscribe.